Hey, Brian, can you write that down on
Welcome
the...
everybody to our hangout on. We're going to be discussing at this moment the Lemuria Atlantean, what we know, what we have found out in order to be a bit more prepared for Saturday's webinar. So that will be the first discussion. After that, we're going to be doing a meditation. And then after that, Sarah will be leading Language Jim. So I will thank everybody for coming and those that are going to be watching for watching. And let's hear what everybody knows about Atlantis or Lemuria. So Roy was talking about before a cartoon. So Roy, do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I had an interesting synchronicity. So I came across this Spirit Science, The Laws of the Sun, I think it was called. And it was a wonderful little cartoon based around all the history of planet Earth, and was bringing all it out in glorious forms and mentioning all the ascended masters. And that was a really nice little thing. So I've also been looking for maps as well on where these lands used to be. So what I've been led to believe is that they are Atlantis. Obviously has something to do with the Atlantic Ridge and the Atlantic Sea, and Mu, from other sources and other information, seems to be the land underneath Hawaii. Hawaii is the tip of the mountain, and those islands all around there, and the original people are the Filipinos, I believe. But there's also a good group question as well I'd like to ask everybody. How did you first find out about Mu and Atlantis? If that's another question for everyone else after I finished.
I found out about... Remember that song from years ago about the city of Atlantis? That's how I first heard about it when I was quite young. I wish I could find it. I'll find it again. It was a very famous song by a famous singer. That's how I first heard about it.
Maybe sharing these remembrances and these synchronicities that we came over, as we understand, nothing happens by chance. So it might actually help other people remember more as well. So if we share these remembrances, that could be a very, very good way. Anyone else would like to share?
I have to say, I think the first time I heard about Atlantis, I think it was in a movie, a very old movie. It was old even for me at that time, so I think that was my first time when I had heard about it. And then when I was reading a Tibetan book, that I heard about it after that, but I really don't have a lot of information on it. So I don't know if anybody has any. I listened to somebody, and what was the name of the book? I can find out. She has some memories of it, and she was pretty obsessed with the idea since she was a child. But of course, there isn't much evidence of it. So, and then of course, when we had the Atlantean that came through Jim the one time. I don't know if everybody remembers that.
No, I don't remember.
No.
Actually, I actually want to play that clip, so I'm gonna look for it so I can play it. Because I think it would be good. Okay, I'll post it there, Roy, so you can play it.
Perfect. Anybody else?
The way I found out about Atlantis was Futurama. They done an episode on it, and yeah, it was great. And then I came here, and then I found out about Lemuria, and I have been listening to different people's perspectives and different realities on where they think Atlantis is, and I've been very interested to hear what people have been saying about Atlantis and Lemuria.
Hey guys.
Hi,
Hi, Safira. Last night on the Quantum Galactic Society page, I posted an interview with Nora Harold and I forget the other lady's name. And they talked a little bit about Atlantis because they remember their past lives there. And they were mother and daughter at the time, and on two different sides of the situation, apparently. So if you guys want to check that out.
Is it Laura Harrell and Wendy Kennedy?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And Wendy is talks about she channels through the ninth dimensional Pleiadians. Yes.
Yeah, both of them do actually. It's just they said it just comes in for a different filter.
Okay.
But they remember their lives at that time. So it's interesting to listen to. It's kind of in the middle of the interview.
Sarah, when did you first hear about it? Was that the first time you've ever heard about Lemuria or Atlantis? Like your very first time?
Well, Atlantis is kind of those things you hear about through osmosis when you're younger, yeah. Whether it's cartoons or whether it's somebody saying, "Oh, we found Atlantis."
Uh-huh.
And then they're in many different places, you know. The moon situation I didn't really hear about until I saw the what are those videos? The spirit science videos.
Yes.
I think.
And then someone discussed it here, and I was like, "Oh, that's what that is." But I never heard of Mu before that, Lemuria. And I found it quite interesting. But then when I remember Kim, she had a recollection at some point during one of our hangouts. And
yes.
bit of the recollection she had, I began crying. She was talking about, I'm not sure if it was her or another person who had a separate recollection, but they were talking about how there were people who stayed so the others can escape. And they were singing. Even as the water was rising, they kept singing until the water went past their heads. And I began crying, like uncontrollably, for some reason.
How does it make you feel now, discussing it?
Now I feel like, well, I know I was one of those people. And I don't know the whole circumstances around that. I feel I was one of those people because I'm still feeling like, oh my goodness. And it makes me feel like I want to cry again. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about that story, exactly what happened.
Actually, I don't know why I forgot this. I have one memory of that. But I was underwater to begin with, and I was sleeping, and I woke up and the water was coming in and everybody was running.
And you know, for the longest period of time, my dreams were, I kept dreaming that I was being drowned by water for the longest period of time, for over like 2 years. And everybody was running away, and somehow I always survived, but the water just came in a big giant wave and just crashed over. And it was in different areas, different dreams, different places. And every time the water would come and just take over the entire city. And it was the strangest dream to constantly have. And until the point I became strong enough within my dream and within myself not to be afraid of the water, that's when the water crystallized. Instead of drowning everyone, it kind of just mellowed out. You know how a small wave will come and it'll kind of like lay down and people could walk through it, that sort of thing. And it began to turn like a slush. It began crystallizing. And I was no longer afraid of it.
Thank you, Sarah. It was lovely.
You're
Now it can
welcome.
be quite tough for some people to go through these memories, especially because there was quite a big shift towards their peak of their civilization.
Yeah.
I remember Atlantis. Man, it's my very first memory on, you know, being in the physical body here. I do remember I was in 6th grade, and this kid brought these D&D Dungeons and Dragons books to school, and he said how he found it was very strange, but that's not the point. The point is, I paid him like $8 to get the book, and it was this book, and it had all these illustrations of like these creatures that lived underground, and it was something, and it had this pictures of these centaurs, like half man, half horse, and it had all these just, and it had this kingdom, and it said something about Atlantis, and I was not really into it at first, and that was just the memory that I had. So I was really young, and it was so fascinating because it was just a book full of all these different creatures. And then later, nowadays, I realized, wow, I bet some of these creatures maybe lived in that time of Atlantis, you know. So it was really cool to see that, where these creatures came from, and when we hear about Atlantis and these different beings that were there and different these hybrids, and that really sparked my imagination. And then later, hearing about Talos, the city. Talos is a Lemurian city under Mount Shasna, and Adama, Adama, is how you spell Adama, and that's I believable the spiritual leader of Talos, and that's what I've heard so far.
Wow. That's all I can say. Why? Zenaida also has, but for Lemuria, because she started speaking a language, and then it came to her, and actually she got that her and I, we are sisters there.
Well, that's cool.
If you go to YouTube and type in Telos Lemuria, you will find uh, a message from him. It's a video, and he talks about their society and how it came about and how they live there and how they do come up on Earth once in a while and what they look like and the kind of vibration they look for in humans to who want to come there. So you can find that. I'll look for it and post it.
Thank you, Severa.
You're welcome. It was very inspiring.
Yeah. My memory is first hearing about Atlantis was seeing the Atlantis movie, and I remember asking a lot of questions that was very interesting about the cartoon. I think it's from Disney or something when they trying to find Atlantis under the water. And then I saw also a documentary about Atlantis, and I asked a lot of questions. That's what I remember from my childhood.
Yeah, for me, the first things I saw about Atlantis were probably movies or shows like from Discovery type shows of things that they think they found, ruins or whatever. But the most interesting was I read a book that is from the 80s or late 70s, I'm not sure, called Star Signs, and there's a whole chapter on Atlantis and um, yeah, very related to a lot of stuff that we are now discovering or rediscovering about it. That's that's all. No memories.
Okay, Margie, you might want to just turn up your mic a little bit if you can, or speak a bit louder. You're a bit
Oh
quiet.
boy, so nobody got any of that?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you just fine over here. I heard you.
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, next time I'll speak louder.
Yeah, that's better, much better. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else?
I remember when I was a child, very young child, my father would talk about Atlantis and Lemuria. He would talk about all the different aliens when I was growing up, so I knew a lot about the reptilian and all of those. The Pleiadians and the Sumerians. So I learned a lot from my father growing up.
Wow, what an epic father to have.
I'm sorry?
What an epic father to have.
Yes, it was.
Interesting.
I learned about the people under Mount Shasta. I learned about the graves, everything, even from my mom. So we had a lot of visitation I get nervous talking in front of people. We had a lot of visitations in the family from extraterrestrials.
Oh, do go on.
Sorry,
Do go on.
do go on.
Yes, you have our attention now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very young, but my older sister, she's 8 years older than me. She remembers my mom telling her, she goes, they're coming tonight, but I don't know which one of us they're going to take. So those kind of visitations. And I remember some visitations, and I remember a time we were up in White River, California, up in the hills, and I went out to the mountains, and I was confronted by some reptilian. I was probably 10 years old. They kept me there for a long time just observing me. So that I remember getting back to the cabin and my mother yelling at me for being gone for so long. And to me, I thought I was only gone for 10 minutes. But she said you were gone for a couple of hours, so that scared her.
Missing time. Yep.
Yes, and I think she knew, on one level she knew, but she didn't say anything. So there's a lot of stories. I have one of my stories in, what's her name? Shirley MacLaine's website. There's my stories up there about a lot of different incidents in the family.
Wow.
She posted it up there. But yeah, it's a very interesting life.
That is beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anyone else?
I just want to
I
ask
share my little one.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Like Sarah said, Atlantis was kind of almost a known about thing. Yeah, but the terminology of osmosis, perfect, Sarah, really spot on. You do just hear about it and you wonder about it, and obviously having the Atlantic Sea as well. Sorry, Atlantic Ocean, get it right. But for me, I didn't hear about Lemuria or Mu until I was about a teenager, and there was a special, very influential band on my life called the KLF. And they were a big transition for me, from music-wise, from rock to electronic. And they actually started singing about the ancient lands of Mu. And all through their songs, they referenced to Mu Land and all these types of, all these like images of these beasts with a single horn coming out of their head. And it just tickled my interest from there. So a bit of a random one, but it had to do with music, obviously, for me.
Of course. Of course, Rowie. That makes sense for you. What was I going to say? When Z was talking about it, I think she saw a little bit of a scene, and I think it spoke a little bit. So she gets back, it'll be interesting to hear what she has to say. So now the question is, what do we wish to know about it?
I have a great question. There's ones, it ties kind of in between Lemuria and Atlantis, and I think it's really important to find out when around the time frame. Most of us, if not all, probably most of us, I don't know if all of us, but has experienced some type of religion. And I would like to know where those religions started from, came from, Lemuria, Atlantis, and where the Adam and Eve, where do they fit in related to Lemuria or Atlantis? Where was that time frame? You know, the Bible goes back maybe, what, 6,000 years, but I think it was, you know, people lived in the biblical days a lot longer. But I would like to know, where does the biblical times of Adam and Eve, where do they fit in the Lemuria or Atlantis time periods? Or did they come, or was it long after Atlantis?
To me, I think it was long after that, but I could be wrong.
Because it's a big influence on our cultures. So where does that, you know, where does that time frame, where does that put the biblical Adam and Eve at?
Brian?
Yeah.
What I was listening to a question just like this on Coast to Coast AM. We had a guest talking about Atlantis, and it was long before Adam and Eve. And I remember feeling upset about that because I thought that the conflict of jealousy and warring and all this kind of things came after Adam and Eve, came after the fall of man, but apparently conflict and fighting and etc. existed long before. So I was confused about that, but I'm not saying that that's the fact. It's just what the guest had said. I don't remember the year he gave or the time frame, but it was way before Adam and Eve.
Yeah, just to ask, for the webinar for Saturday is, where did that biblical time period, the original, what was it closer? Was it around Atlantis times or after You know, did it go farther back? And what were the races that Adam and Eve dealt with? Who are the races that Adam and Eve worked with? You know?
That's a good question. Excellent.
Yes. That's all.
Awesome.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah, because I always wondered, because if there were other races before Adam and Eve, you know, in the traditional Bible, that affects so many millions of people today, then why? Let's get the original story. What was it really like in the times of Adam and Eve? Because it affects so many people.
And that will be a good question for if it's after.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that would be a good question to ask Jesus.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Sabrina.
Because
Are you writing this down? So.
Yep.
Sabrina, don't be sick next webinar.
Okay, Gabriel, what are your questions?
What can we learn from them here and now? Those times.
Good question.
And do we really need to know everything about who they live? And what resonate, what resonate not?
What do you mean by what resonates and what doesn't resonate?
And also, I'm a little bit confused about what Bashar speaks about. Every reality exists in a way, so the story about Lemuria change whatever perspective what you tune into. You can change the whole story of that, what I understand. That's what I'm a little bit confused about.
What do you mean by the story change?
Because everything is here now. There's not
Right.
really any past.
Right.
Then there's a billion endless amount of Lemurian and how they live, and what
Yes.
you don't have to pick anyone, or some may say they live this way, some people say they live that way.
Right, because they're connecting to different timelines.
Yeah.
So when you connect to different timelines, you're going to have different stories. And of course, there's one that never destroy themselves. So we can connect to those also. Oh, that's actually, if the same Atlantean comes, that would be a good question to ask. I mean, I would think they have the awareness of all the different parallels. And see if they have that awareness. Go ahead, Ruth.
I might ask how many of us are descended from Atlantis? Because if we've lived together before and we come together now for human colony, have we been together on Atlantis? Is there an ancestral connection?
Actually, I think that question was asked that day that the Atlantean came. We're always going to cue the video so we can watch it.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
even remember what was said, but
Yep, that's ready to go. Whenever you want to watch it, let me know.
yeah, I think that was a good time.
Okay, so this is the first time we're experimenting with YouTube over the Hangouts, so Fingers crossed.
Cool.
I think it might mute you all, so if you do need... So, and I've got the volume up. I've put it into 124.47, which is the time Caroline gave me, with the link. So, let's see how this goes. Sabrina, do you need to present me, or does it just play to everybody? Can everyone see that YouTube feature?
Should we be seeing now?
We still see you, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Does everyone need to click on the YouTube thing as well, or do I just press play?
We should be able to see it on your screen.
Yeah, are you sharing screens, Rowie? Do you know how to do that?
We've got
Rowie,
a
I think
special YouTube.
Check on the live video if it's running. Otherwise,
Rowie, I think everyone needs to click on the YouTube app.
I think I need
I
to
think
add
you're
it
right,
too.
Sarah.
Hold on.
If you go to the left, there should be a YouTube little play button. I just want to make sure everybody's receiving the video at the same time.
check on the live one if it shows there.
Do you have the link, Gabriel?
No, you have the one who's hosting has the link.
Yeah, but Gabe, you have to click on the YouTube app on the side to see it.
Didn't.
Okay, very good.
Oh, I see other people can play it, so here we go.
Yes.
Let's try this then. Oh, Houston, we have a problem. Okay. Is everyone hearing the video? Okay. It's just
Yes.
paused itself.
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear it right now. It's awesome. Thank you.
Is it still playing?
No, it
Not at the
stopped.
moment.
Yeah, it's just paused itself for some reason. One moment, please.
Everyone can control it. So if someone pulls it, it pulls for everyone.
Yeah, it's like it's trying to buffer, but let me just try a little trick here.
Do you want me to press play?
Yeah, I don't know. Here we go.
I can. It's playing again,
That's
Ralph.
false information. Ah, no, there was a tumultuous earthquake.
Oh, I think we've skipped it. Missed a bit. All gone back. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go.
Yes, that was beautiful.
So I apologise for the technical difficulties. If there was dead air on the live feeds, it was because we were watching a video of a past webinar that we did
post the
online,
link.
and we can put the link up on the feed afterwards so people can check out and watch what we were just watching. But basically, if you couldn't see it, we were just watching a video of Jim channeling an Atlantean, which happened in one of our Saturday webinars.
Thank you, Rowan.
You're very welcome.
So now that we have a little more background on this, I think we can maybe come up with different questions, more questions about what went on, because by what, was it a she or a he?
I think it was a male energy. Male.
It was an earthquake and not their technology that destroyed Atlantis. So obviously some left and they went to the moon. I thought that was interesting. So I wonder if they stay there, if they moved on, or if they waited and then came back. Then I like the teleportation thing that he talked about also. Now, when he was talking about Egypt and the Greeks and the Gnostics, he was talking about some of them getting their information or their culture. I didn't quite get that.
It seemed he was saying that they had a lot of interaction with those people. And if so, it makes me think that Atlantis is around that area. I'm just saying it.
And yes, at the time of Jesus, the Gnostics was the most popular type of, let's say, I don't want to call it a religion, but philosophy, way of life. It was pretty much the predominant aspect in the world that was believed in.
Yeah, because we're not, I guess it's not really quite clear if technology actually surpassed their spirituality. From what I heard, it didn't seem to be so, but I'm not sure about that part.
I wonder how the Atlantean culture changed the belief structures of when they were leaving Atlantis, how they changed their belief structures of the Romans and Egyptians.
Mary left. Hi, Anne. How are you? Yeah, so I thought it was interesting about the portals. What did you type there on the side, Roy?
Oh, I've just been having synchronicities with portals every single day. So I just had another little portal sync when it was mentioned. So
Oh,
just a reminder to myself.
yes. Now, are those portals being used now? Does anybody know?
That's interesting what we decided is definition of portal. I mean, there's various ideas of what a portal is and various uses of it over different dimensions. So a portal could just be literally a doorway, a gateway. That could be that's where port hole, the original etymology of the word, comes from.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
It's a way of getting some information or going somewhere or doing something. Portals can be created in different ways. It would be nice to get some more clarification on that and to expand on what they mean as a portal.
Right. Okay, now it's 2:40. Do we, the thing is for the meditation, if we do the meditation, we obviously can't do it live if we're playing somebody else's thing. So I don't know if you guys want to do a little bit of the language gym and then do the meditation.
However it works.
Hyan, did you have anything to say about Atlantis and Lemuria before we do that?
Yeah, I haven't heard what you said, but I have one concept that I think about, and that is, did they coexist with homogeneous, those primitive humans? Were Atlantis isolated? Were their advancement isolated to that land? You know what I mean?
Yes. So
And maybe see them sometimes and perceive them as gods. And do you think that?
yeah, and the question would also be, where did the Atlanteans and Lemurians come from?
Yeah. Are they the same, the Anunnaki thing? Is that the same with them? I guess not.
Yeah, because I think, I don't know, I think they precede the Anunnaki, don't they? I'm not sure.
What was that? They perceived the Anunnaki what?
The Anunnakis. In other words, they came before.
Atlantis came before Anunnaki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to find out whether it is a linear concept of time that we're talking about here, or if it's like really, really far in a different dimension or a different parallel timeline. That would be really interesting to find out.
Yeah, there's that aspect too. Because they are of the everything being here and now. They are aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how that whole thing adds up. So
Yeah.
I would like
Okay.
to ask about crystals.
crystals. Oh, with them.
Yeah. How do we, a little bit more detail on how to use them?
Okay.
And
Do you want to? It would probably be good if you were less general. Maybe if you picked a couple of crystals.
okay, which crystals would be best in connecting to the earth or to help plants grow or to because
Sarah, I've been told something right now. Whatever crystal resonates with you the most will be the best.
Okay.
Trust yourself. And that will be the crystal you need.
Because I want to begin toning with crystals.
Uh-huh. You will know. You will know. But you have to explore.
Yeah.
Expose yourself to the various crystals, and these will find your right vibration for you, and you will recognize this vibration through a passion, through an excitement, and you will connect and expand through that consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Yes. And they obviously were very big on crystals.
Yeah. He was talking about the grids.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it?
It's so
like
interesting. I want to know a little bit more about that too.
I mean, you got Justin there, and he's creating these fantastic grids at the time. He was really in a good element back then, and it was really good to see him, you know, creating these beautiful crystal grids. And there's a few little clues there of what Justin was doing, and it would be great if he can get his input back on, focus back on those areas. And I'm sure he'll have a lot of light to share.
Yeah, he's coming back. I'm very sure of that.
Yeah, when it starts talking about like the unity between, you know, shape, form, light, places, vibration, then there will be transformation.
Mm-hmm.
What I found interesting was what he said about the crystals light up within you.
Yes.
You got that as well. Yeah, that was a real.
I thought that would be gorgeous. And just I first imagined shining a light through the crystal, but then is it a light within us, or is it just like an outside light, like we get a regular light bulb or something?
I feel it's our perception. It's the way we view it. That's the reality we create. So it doesn't matter if anyone else sees it or not, because you see it happening. It's your universe. And yeah, like you were saying there, you are the light. So yeah, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I understood that part, but he mentioned something about shining a light through the crystal. Not the one you're viewing yourself or inside your body. He mentioned something about an outside light.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, because we know how light works with the prism and how you can split the prism of white light into its respective frequencies that we can perceive.
That's what I was getting more at.
Yeah. I wonder if it's different types of lights, or it had to be more of a focused light, like a laser, for example, or it could just be any sort of light. Or it might be. But another good thing to think about here is they may have had an ability to perceive infrared or ultraviolet. So as a human, we're looking at it in this tiny bit of wavelength, they could have been seeing things in a much bigger. That might be a good question to ask as well.
That's really nice. Yes.
Have any of you have ever looked at crystals under different light spectrum?
Yes, I studied geology, and we used to look at them under ultraviolet quite a lot.
Oh.
And it's brilliant. Certain crystals have amazing resonance with ultraviolet light.
Mm.
Not tried it with infrared. Not tried it with infrared.
But you tried it with ultraviolet.
Uh-huh. It's quite a test actually. If you want to test what minerals what or what crystals what, it's just another one of those little tests you can use, like Mohs scale, which is a test for how hard the mineral is to see what it is. You can actually shine, and certain ones will refract ultraviolet light, and they will shine a different color. I think we're heading down a good little path here.
I know.
Anyone else like to expand or play with this? Anything coming to them?
Could be that you are the light of creation, and the crystal represents the energy source that you seek. And when the light of creation shines through the crystal, it makes magical things happen.
Yes.
Yeah, the vibration that you're resonating. Yes. It expands.
I just remembered that they found a crystal pyramid near the Bermuda.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That would be interesting.
A crystal what?
Crystal pyramid, as big as the big pyramid. So they had a big crystal pyramid.
Okay.
They also mentioned the crystal skulls, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Which was a nice sync with Justin there, as he had it in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love a Lemurian to come through. Oh wow, that would be, get the other side of the story.
Yeah, that would be good. I sent a message to Jim so that he would in time start asking who will be most appropriate to come for that. But I guess Atlantean or Lemurian. But it would be great, if a Lemurian could come. So we get to see the other side.
Yes, they say understanding is a triple-edged sword.
But there was supposed to be another side along with the two, right?
Say again. Sorry, Sabrina.
That I thought there was another civilization besides the Atlantean and Lemurians coexisting there with them.
Well, didn't they mention the Syrians?
Do you think that might have been a time where the Syrians were creating mammalian life in the seas? Such as the whales, dolphins?
That's the question.
I mean, the mermaids were there.
Yeah.
So, but I thought I had read somewhere that there was another civilization that, it was like a group. I don't know if it was Atlantean or Lemurian that broke off and went on their own. Has anybody read that?
The Lemurians?
Either from the Lemurians or the Atlantean. There was like a group of them that like an offshoot.
Yes, there was something to do with the Lemurians where, because they knew what was coming, and some people foresaw it, they broke off and broke away and started to spread out to other places on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
One of them may be Aborigines.
Maybe what? Sorry, Hyan?
And one of them may be Aborigines.
Who?
Aborigine.
Oh, Brazilians?
No.
Aboriginals.
Aboriginals.
Aboriginals. Okay.
Yes, also the Filipino race is supposed to be very connected to Lemuria as well.
I have a question. Can we finally put to rest where Atlantis and Lemuria is? Because I'm seeing so many maps in so many different places. I have no idea which one is which.
Yeah.
Can we ask the question, where exactly were these places?
What I understand is most of the Atlantic are incarnated in Europe.
Well, that's what we're saying. We're understanding that so many people have an understanding that they're in many different places. Some people say Atlantis is near Hawaii. Some people are saying Atlantis is in the Atlantic Ocean. Some people are saying, oh no, it was in the Mediterranean Sea. I mean, really.
No, I meant after Atlantic, like this timeline now is that most of incarnation in Europe are from Atlantic.
Well, I think we should ask the question.
Yes, I think that's a very good question to ask.
Where do you feel Atlantis was, in your own perspective?
Because I've heard so many different perspectives, and a lot of them sound very resonant. I would just like for a spirit was in that lifetime to tell us, because so many people have all of these great ideas. They're looking up stones. They're looking at this and that, and they're saying, no, it was here. And then you have the next person say, no, it was over here by the Bermuda Triangle. And then it's just all over the place for me. I would like confirmation of some sort.
What resonates with you?
All over the place, actually.
Yeah, since there are things being discovered under the sea pretty much everywhere now.
Exactly. This is the point.
We might be taking different civilizations and calling them more Atlantis or Lemuria.
Yeah. And if you think about it, like when Atlantis sank, it's not just going to sink in one place. It's probably the wave and the currents are probably going to take different parts of it in different places as well. So it's kind of confusing as to what the hell is where it was. But I kind of believe that like maybe where they found the most of their artifacts or where most of that stuff was found, maybe that's where it collapsed. Or I don't know.
This is why I would like confirmation.
Yes. I know.
And my question is about, like, is it we decide what happened in a sense, because all of whatever, it's what we want to tune into, or?
And then my question to that would be, when Jim was channeling, we didn't say, let it be the an Atlantean from where Atlantis sank, or do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but does it matter? Does it matter if the collective consciousness come in and it's not just one Atlantean, it's all of them, or one Lemurian, it's all of them?
Yeah, no. What I was saying was that not that it matters, but
Okay.
how was that determined? In other words, how was it determined that it would be an Atlantean on the timeline where they sank, not an Atlantean on a timeline where they survived?
I see your point. Yes.
So I
My,
thought,
my wondering if we have a big entity channel this information, is it them deciding what we are going to believe or not then? Or can we just believe however we want the story to be?
and that will be true for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Because Bashar speaks about this many times in a sense.
Yeah, but even Bashar, so even if you take what Bashar says, you know, whatever the predictions he's made, or even when he speaks, and this is, I had discussed this before, when he speaks about the hybrids, I guess that those timelines, those connections exist in his timeline, but it doesn't necessarily have to exist in ours that way or occur in the same form.
And like Bashar always says, you're not actually talking to Bashar, you're just talking to your higher self. So you are, when these people are discussing these things with Bashar and they talk about these things, usually you're talking to your higher self. And he clearly states that many, many times.
Right.
So that puts another little twist on things. He's a crafty Sasani.
Yeah. So if we're just talking to our higher self, let's say when Jim channels, right? Would you say we're talking to our higher self?
Yes, the people that are present in that co-creation, it's a mixture of everyone, you know. Like if you go back to, and also if you take what some of the stuff Sisyphus has been saying recently as well, you are the I am that I am. And I mean, this has always been a big resonation for me anyway, especially when I've had aspects of my higher self channeled to me. And I was like, what? But that's only a few hundred years ago, and you know, and all these things. And what we actually kept, me and Roxy, when we talked about it in depth one time, is that the higher self is actually, you know, the beginning, the roots, you know, all that is. Since we all come from this. But it's a co-creation, a co-collective understanding of the people who are present, that's how the answer comes through. Even though we're not really aware of it, that's how the information comes through. So the more people that remember themselves and remember who they are, and they collect together and they start discussing these things, the more accurate the information is for me and for everyone else.
But how can there be accuracy?
Oh God, you got me there.
I have a statement. May I speak?
Please.
The thing is, some of us within our soul lifetimes have been very affected about what happened in Atlantis. So even if there was an Atlantis that was not destroyed, and one that was destroyed, we're actually coming from a place of a soul memory where it was destroyed, because we're having experiences where it was destroyed. We're having these thoughts and memories and dreams. And in that case, we're asking for the timeline where we were actually involved. We're asking for some facts, if there are any facts, because everything is about perception. However, if there are any facts to do with the timeline that is part of our memory, our soul consciousness, then I would like to know any of that information, is what I wanted to say.
You got that written down, Sabrina?
No. So what exactly? Put it in a question form.
What I would like to know is, number one, where was Lemuria and Atlantis?
I got that one.
According to the timelines that our soul consciousness remembers.
So if I say according to our timelines.
Yes.
Okay.
And what are the facts? Not who did what and this and that and the war. What are the facts? What were some of the lifestyles? What were,
their culture.
Culture and just something that would connect us a little bit more to the memory.
Maybe a day-to-day of an Atlantean. What would a day look like?
Or even Lemuria.
Or a Lemurian, yeah.
Or whoever else was a part of that lifetime at that time.
Day-to-day of, yeah.
Yeah, it's also there must have been some conversion points as well. So there must have been, like, as we know, there's different timelines interact with each other in what they call a convergence point. I wonder, and that's when a lot of clarity and a lot of people are on the same timeline, and that's where they can also split. So it'd be interesting to find out where they are as well, and that's where you'll get the facts, because there's a general consensus on what happens.
I'll tell you where are they? I had put some questions together, and there's actually some on the website that are really good that were posted.
Jay, welcome. Do you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah. Actually, did we have connections with animals maybe more back then? Preferably dolphins, maybe water animals?
Yeah, that's a great question.
They spoke about the mermaids, that they were connected.
Well, so what was their connection?
Yeah, like, think of like how we have a connection with animals now, and maybe they had a better, or maybe we, as us back then, had a better connection with the animals as of like now,
Yeah.
Hello, Jim.
Hello, Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. That would be a brilliant question to put to them.
Yes, I wrote it down.
So were they more symbiotic, or were they more like what we have now, a predatory type of system? It could be very, very crucial to how that was all played out.
And were the mermaids considered a different species from them, or they were an offshoot from them?
Uh-huh.
Jim, we are preparing for Saturday's webinar.
Okay, how are you preparing?
We are discussing and coming up with questions. So that's how we're preparing.
Okay.
We're like a loaded gun.
Yes.
Loaded gun.
Yeah. we 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 are loaded with thoughts and ideas and questions.
Loaded with thoughts. Okay, that's cool. There's many different things about Atlantis. A lot of people report different things, but I'll bring down whoever knows the most.
Can you share when you first connected to the idea of Atlantis?
Who, me?
Yeah, everybody has shared that when they first connected to the idea. First memory.
My first memory connecting to Atlantis was when I, like, within the first 5 months that I started channeling, somebody from Atlantis came. But that was the first and only time, I think. Maybe there was another time.
Yes,
Jim?
there was another time.
Yes.
Jim, before you channeled, you must have heard about Atlantis and Mu before you channeled, correct?
I had heard about it, yes.
Yeah, that was the question we had at the start, was when did we first hear about in our lives, you know, where did it come from? And it brought out some really, really good answers from people.
My first, I learned it from, do you know the very first thought of Atlantis was I heard it on a Donovan record, The Continent of Atlantis, and the song, do you remember the song Atlantis?
Ah, that was the
and
one Ruth mentioned earlier, correct? Donovan?
Who? Donovan, yeah, Atlantis. But then I became, because I was young when I heard that, so that was the 70s. Or maybe.
Oh, Jimmy, you're breaking up a bit. I just turned your camera off. Maybe you come through a bit better now.
I didn't say anything.
You were talking about the song Donovan, Atlantis, correct?
Yeah, that's all. That was.
Do you remember when you first heard about Mu?
When what?
When you first heard about Mu or Lemuria?
I've never heard of it. I didn't hear of it till just recently.
Interesting.
In fact, I still don't know anything about it. I've heard of it, but only since I've been channeling.
Do you have any memories of being in Lemuria?
In what?
Do you have any memories of being in Lemuria?
In Atlantis? No, I don't have any memories.
Yeah, because we just heard. Go ahead.
You're breaking up. I think you're breaking up. All right. I get here and I cause too much trouble. Let me go to the other computer. So I just was checking email here. I'll be back.
Okay.
Roger, Roger.
I'd like to know more information about the priesthood of Atlantis and Lemuria to see what their different belief structures were between the two lands.
I like that one. Yeah.
Got it.
I wonder if there was a need of priests. I wonder if they were evolved enough that literally their own temple was themselves. If you catch my drift on that, I wonder if there was a need for priests.
I think they had something along those lines because I remember when before I joined this group, I was watching, like, do you know those past life regression videos of people that are looking back into their past lives and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this girl, I don't know if she was a priest or if she was some type of person in the medical field, but she would help people on ways based on how the priests would, and she basically was going back and understanding how she died at that time, and so yeah, I think there was priests there. Now that I think about it, because I did see that video, and it was talking about how lifestyle was there and how they lived and the different fields that people worked in.
Ace, thank you. That's brilliant. Does anyone else have anything similar to that? Understanding or reflection?
Earthling, did you have more questions? I know we cut you off. Can't hear you.
When I was just thinking about the question that I just asked, I thought of maybe like maybe it could have been in a bad way, the relationship with animals, with like putting like two different animals together or something like that, maybe. So it could have been like in a bad way, but it could have been in a good way too.
Oh, you mean like a chimera?
I don't know what that is, but
okay, I'll just get a little wiki thing for you.
Chimera, isn't a chimera like an animal kind of experimentation between a human and an animal? Like it's like kind of a mutation type thing?
Yeah.
That's how I heard what they are. Yeah. And Sabrina, like I'm probably way late with this, but what are the questions for, if I may ask? Is it for the webinar for Saturday?
Yes, for the webinar for Saturday.
Ooh, great. Sounds
because the more clear we are on what we want to know, and we have put together what we know, the more in depth we can be with our questions.
Sounds good.
So we're really gonna be sharp.
Yeah, like my last name. No, I'm kidding.
Funny girl.
And now we don't have any room left to Jim.
There isn't?
I don't mind dropping if Jim can jump in if you want.
Dan.
I'll go. Guys, see you later. I'll listen.
Okay. Thank you.
Please come again. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Dan, we were talking about memories of Atlantis and Mu. One of the questions we had at the start was when did you first hear about Atlantis or Mu or Lemuria? Or if you have any memories or anything you want to share from your experiences?
I think the first time I heard about Atlantis was probably through that was it Disney film? They did the like an Atlantis kind of remake or something. I think that would have been the first time I ever really heard about it, and then I started to kind of look into it a little bit and see a bit more what it was about, and then I realised that it was like a civilization. And then from that point, it's all theories from there. So it's what you want it to be. And then I kind of left it at that. I've not really dived much into it.
It's a bit like Stitching, isn't it? With his influential work about the Anunnaki, everyone believes that's completely the truth. Whereas we all know there's around loads of different possibilities.
Loads of different names, loads of different theories. They all just point to the same sort of thing, that is just generally everyone around us. That was a bit weird.
Thank you, Jasmina.
I thought that was funny.
Song.
That is funny. So, but you don't have memories of being there, do you?
I haven't asked for them, so maybe. Who knows? I just didn't really I didn't really want to put Atlantis at the focus, seeing as it's already happened, and I'm trying to get to grips with this current life. So I figured, looking at lives that could have potentially been absolute hell or paradise, you got to take it a little bit carefully, I guess, because you don't want to end up. Well, I didn't want to end up jumping too far into one end and then still not being able to gather myself at this end. So I've kept it a bit kind of in the back of my mind for now. I know that a lot of things happened during those times. It doesn't really intrigue me so much at the minute.
Okay. I don't know about others. I'm looking more in terms of the historical aspect of it. But then again, whenever I make connections to other lives, I don't connect emotionally to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you see other people, they have a very strong emotional connection, and that actually brings out the connection for them. So it's different for different people.
Yeah, it all, I guess, depends on the individual and how they feel. I mean, I was totally different when I found out some of my lives, and when I went in depth with it. It was honestly, it kind of became a part of me, and it kind of gave me a depression, but at the same time, it was relieving because you were remembering who you were at that time, and then there's others that feel a bit differently about it and they move on. But I guess now that I think about it, it just all depends on the person, how they feel about that. And
I think the main thing with any kind of regression technique is that you gotta take it all with a pinch of salt, and then even if it resonates with you on your highest level, don't just go, that must be the truth because it's just given me that goosebump feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's still more of a, I guess, discernment. You can find out that you were an absolute, bad person in the eyes of, whatever bad is, because you're in charge of that as well. And you can find out that, and then you end up going, okay, so what good has that actually done for me? So then you start going into other ones, and you go, okay, I was a nice person. And then you just kind of go, I'm focusing on other lives when the one I'm currently living is, not living up to the same expectations that you've got from watching these, awesome lives.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I guess, still trying to make this life the best one out of the memories, I guess.
Yeah. And it makes you realize, like, how different you can be compared to those lives. I mean, me, I'm not a killer or anything. I'm nothing. I'm harmless to people, I think. And back in my other lives, I was like an assassin, and I was just all this stuff. And when I look at it now, it's like, damn, I am pretty goofy. And, I love it. I love that. And it's good to be like that. It's good to feel different you know, and to know who you are in this life and to embrace that you came here to be this or that or whatever, just to feel like you in this life. It's a good thing. And to explore things, to do your highest excitement. I feel like past life regression, it's to embrace what happened, but at the same time, you know, don't be upset about it. Just remember that, like, you're still you, in a sense. Maybe a different aspect of you. Maybe, I don't know. I honestly have no clue, but I have yet to find out more about that. But, Sabrina, Atlantis, do you know exactly where they found most of the, like, where it exactly collapsed? Or do any of you know that?
Different people reported at different places. Because some people said that where the Bermuda Triangle is, that's where they have said it is. But it differs with everyone. But I actually would like to talk about what you were just saying about the past lives. I think there was only one life that I had difficulties with, because not only was the memory very vivid, but the emotions were very vivid, and it was very tragic in the sense in which it was happening. But I think when you become too self-involved on what these, obviously they're parallel lives, are, and you don't take from them what they're there to show you in connection to who you are now, then you miss the point. Because it's about bringing from there what you can use now. And when that connection gets lost and you get lost in the suffering or whatever you want to call it, the evil or the fun or the things you had and you don't have now, I think you miss the point of the connection of the past life to this life and what is there to show you. And it just might be that you have within you the strength to be stronger, to stand up for yourself, those kinds of things. So I think also keep in perspective, because it's fun to explore them. And I know some people are afraid to, because they don't want to see who they could have possibly been. But all of those connections, all of those different lives, if you learn to pull from them what was there for you to learn and then just bring it over here, then I think that's where you benefit from that.
Yeah, I could imagine it'd be quite shocking, wouldn't it, if you had like such a, and actually I've had some experience through this through Kim, when you do have some past lives and how they can affect you, what's actually happening in this life. Well, it shouldn't really. I mean, well, I say the word shouldn't, but it can really affect people.
It's your choice, though.
Yes, yes, indeed. I guess it can sometimes creep up on you if you're not expecting it, and then all of a sudden you get a flash and you've got a memory. I guess if you're in a relaxed state and you're in like a regression type of state, and you're sort of just letting the information flow from you without the emotional attachment. But if you were watching intensely and emotionally connected to yourself and you get a memory, then yeah, you could be in tears.
Yeah, and it's also, I've heard that it even affects people with their phobias and stuff. I mean, people that drown in a past life, apparently that kind of comes to their next life or something like that. I think I've heard that in a few cases. with some people, that they don't understand why they're so afraid of water or spiders or whatever that thing is that they have a phobia of, and that when they find out it's like it has something to do with their past life, they're like, oh my god, that is why I'm afraid of water. It's kind of, I guess it can kind of make you realize that maybe that's why you're afraid of that, and maybe that can even help you let go of it when you find that out. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you can kind of use the regression technique to have the other effect as well if you want to tackle a phobia. Say, like, you were scared of snakes in this life, and then you decided, you're like, we've lived everywhere, so I could just tap into a snake handler in India or something, and then basically regress yourself out of the phobia by witnessing this, really familiar guy just playing with a cobra or something, and then you wake up and you go, oh, okay, these guys can do it, what's the point in worrying about some little grass snake that's, or a little, some little tiny snake, when there's people out there handling and training some of the most dangerous snakes around. So regressions could also be, they could be a beneficial thing for many, like a multi-purpose tool, I guess.
Yes. And I've actually watched this guy in Spanish that he does that. He takes people to past lives, to the connection where the different lives where that particular problem or phobia that they have, and sometimes it's more than one life, and he takes them there and helps them sort of leave it there and be okay with it. And it's very interesting because he videotapes the whole thing, so you get to see the whole process. So, welcome back, Jim.
Thank you. Can you hear me better?
Yep, you're perfect.
Very good. I had to jump through some hoops to get here. They wanted me to do a plug-in and all kinds of things, but I made it through.
Good.
I know, I'm so challenged with computers. But, one day I will be good.
Have you done a past life regression?
Yes, I have. I did 3 lives. They recalled 3 lives. One was an alien life where I was a Pleiadian musician, which was interesting.
Not Lakesh.
I would love to find out more about that.
Yes, that was
fourth-dimensional
a really
music is
interesting life. According to the past regression, was really bizarre. I listened to it on the tape, on the CD, I should say. It was like, okay, that's pretty wild.
So when you came back, you didn't remember?
I remembered some of it. Yeah. But like when I go into channeling, I can hear a lot of stuff, but I don't remember it a lot of times. Unless somebody brings it up again, then I'll remember it. Then I start remembering it. If they bring things up, then I start to remember that. So that's pretty cool.
Okay.
But sometimes I can remember. If it's somebody that doesn't come in real strong, usually you can remember it. They don't block it too much from you. But I guess I'm more semi-conscious.
But do you realize that you're already doing more conscious channeling?
Yes, I have done conscious channeling because I'll start talking about something and all of a sudden the information is more than what I know. And so I know that that's conscious. Somebody came in and gave me some information. So.
And when you do the blessings?
That just comes. Let me tell you how the blessings come. When you start talking, when somebody starts talking, I'll know immediately, pretty much, if I have the interpretation, because the first sentence comes. When you say the first sentence comes into my mind. Nothing else. Just the first sentence. But I know that I'll be interpreting it, because when I release that first sentence, then everything else comes.
It's like a flow of words. But the first sentence comes, and I don't know anything after that. I'll know what the first sentence is once you start talking. But after that, nothing until you're done, and then there it goes.
You know what I wanted, what I wanted to try, Jim, and was, let's say, like today we're doing the topic on Atlantis, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Have maybe like 3 people, 4 people, I don't know how many can be done. Speak a little bit on the topic in a language, okay? Because and see what
They'll
comes.
Be giving information. Yeah.
Given information, and then you translating to see if we're going to get different views.
Okay.
On the subject.
Okay, I can only stay for about 15 minutes, but yeah, we can work on something.
So
I have a 4 o'clock, so.
Yeah, if we all limit ourselves, or limit the entity, because that's my thing. That's where I have the problem. The Arcturian likes to talk a lot. And that's why sometimes it gets chopped off, like the ending, because I'm rushing it to like, okay, finish, and then I just stop it because it just wants to go on and on.
Well, I noticed that the endings sort of yours are sort of abrupt sometimes. Did you ever notice that?
Yes.
In the interpretation, the ending is like, oh.
Because like it's me stopping it. It's me that stops it.
Yeah. But that's cool. Yeah, because even the endings of some of them sound very abrupt at the end, like there should be more.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is. So
it's my fault, really. It's not theirs, because I didn't let them finish.
Let me tell you something, though. I know since I started channeling, that's the beginning of my knowledge about all these aliens and all that stuff. So I know very, very little about Atlantis. I know very little about Lemurians, aliens of any sort, but they talk through me now, so I'm learning a lot. But I really don't know. I never studied aliens. I was a very 9-to-5 manager type person before I started channeling, and I just didn't look for this kind of stuff. But now that it found me, I should say, or I found it, or however it is, it's much more interesting now. But I still have a long way to go to it. I mean, I listen to a couple different channelers, and I have no idea what they're talking about. So,
and it's actually that's good, because it keeps your information more clear, more clean.
I can listen to, like, say, Roxy. She can get over my head sometimes. I'm like, ooh, I have to hear that a couple times before I understand it, because she's so fast. She's really, really fast.
Yeah.
Like, I never knew what channeling was until I did it. So.
Yeah. So, do you guys want to try the little experiment? Why don't we start with Rowie? We'll keep it short, and we'll ask the different entities with us to just give us 2-3 sentences on Atlantis or Lemuria, and see what we get.
Okay.
So I'll let Rowie start.
All right, and I'll do a little meditation while he's doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, likewise. Just let me prepare as well.
Oh, okay. Unless you want me to start.
Yeah, if you start, I'll just prepare.
Don't forget Arcturian.
Atlantis. 온다 기어 쿵티기 안 온다 기 아따 기어 온다 오다 디온다가 또 오티 이웃다 곤디쿠 아 소온 키키야 키요쿠와 키야 나키우쿠 아뚜아다.
We felt we were the center of the earth. Many people looked to us. Many people depended on us. And after we were gone, and away from the earth completely, or at least almost completely, they had to fend for themselves, and I think this was part of the overall plan of the gods.
또 온나 키야 뚜 아나 키요 뚜와 아노아 디요 소 오루 오다니오카.
We wouldn't share our technology, but we would share everything else. The food and whatever needs they had, we would help them with. But we would not let them even see the technology.
토야노 오 온누아 아야 아노 어디야 시오노 기었다. Okay, he left.
I didn't get anything for that one.
Okay.
Except the word mermaids was the only thing that I heard.
Ooh. You stumped Jim. Wow.
Huh? It was no. They stopped
Okay.
talking. He said mermaids and then stopped.
Who wanted to go next? I can go after Ruben.
Naktu. Chigo no hot no to a hot duka nikta with botta ando. Tika. Ita kiki ha una to hotita shika. Oh, nakta.
Ah. The mermaids would lead the ships to us, and that's the way they would find us, because other than that, there was no path.
Bi niktuan to shika. Noko. Yettako shika on. Kiata tuka no tupata tisha tutua.
They would see we have imitation light, and they were interested in that, but they thought it was dangerous, and sometimes they would even think that it was godlike.
He ni tu dish kutuka och nicht to stua tika no patak tu tika stua ninga.
We were especially good friends with the Egyptians, as you call them, from Africa, that's also your name, but they were a high-cultured people, and we enjoyed their company.
Nko no tu tika sho.
Sometimes they could be treacherous, though.
Okay.
I go.
I think that's it for me.
We sent out our knowledge as well to other places, so they could learn how to take care of themselves. Little did we realize they would have to do that in a greater capacity than we thought. They invented names for us that were complimentary, but except for a couple that thought we were dangerous and demonic, because their gods said that we were bad. We also liked the Gnostics a lot, and they were very inventive and colorful. They had great art and great wisdom. We shared much. We often like to tell stories about our legends and our past lives.
Yeah, I think that's it for me.
Okay.
Otherwise, it could go on forever.
Yeah. Sean is going.
Ashuna ati ako tashala uba ni asuti talao aka sunu awai suti achalahi ako talao maawai akata talao yasu talashitu apana ahai akota shalao suti ato maai akalalai ashapadara ai suti ata.
We taught them about herbs and medicinal things, and also about crystals. They had many questions, and they often asked how to use them. We gave them much instruction.
Talayashiti ataka talayasuti shalantu I akitata au wama ai aka shalasita tato au apana ai aka shalalai ato tumasitu kalatuti chapatita akata ai.
We became great traders of stones and crystals, for when they found out what they could do, they wanted them, and we gave them in mass. And always they were thankful, because they didn't know they had such power.
Matito kakatata to ashipa salausuti kalatua ayaso apanahahi kalashi samata kota a e ashuta pamama isuti akuta tlarukata ayashapa suni aku tashipa ni alalai sutaka ayasu.
The Egyptians were an exception to that rule, for they knew much about crystals and the power and how to use them. Their technology was also almost as advanced as ours.
Caitlin?
Mara naika yarakina skanayata roskuna yata naiki marikina ski ayatoskanareka.
We were a proud people. Now you want us to talk about ourselves. We are very happy to.
Mo I mariki amikina skanari narakara skanayo. No amaina hikaya rekeniatai namanem norikina manahi.
Even though we were not all equal, we were all equal in each other's eyes, although some had greater wealth than others.
O lothoriana ni marikiam naska orosko orkunya manikanarina.
We were a proud and happy people, wanting for nothing at that time.
Manen marina naskanai kamana ya aronai na manya nanawa.
I myself was a lawyer, as you might call one, in Atlantis.
Ya yamiki kimi no ayati akinaya taraskanai.
I was always welcome in the king's court. He liked me very much.
Yeah, I kind of lost it there for a second.
Okay. Dan, would you like to go?
We're gonna leave. We're gonna leave ourselves out of this one for now.
Okay. Sarah?
Okay.
There were many priests in those days, and they were very wise. My name is Jessob. That is what you asked. There were many temples and much spiritual awakening in Atlantis. The only sacrifices that were made were of food and vegetables. And they would walk to the temples to present them. However, the temples were open for everyone. I myself stayed at the temple for 3 nights one time. It was a wonderful experience. There was no hunger, and there was no sorrow in the sense that it was a happy society. Of course, there was some, and that's all. Some, that's where it broke up. Some days that were silent due to our customs and rituals. The blessings were all very powerful and were all very meaningful to us. And yes, we had pets and animals as well.
Namaste.
Well, peoples, I gotta go.
Oh no, there was one left.
One more, Wendy.
One more, please.
Wendy.
I have a 4 o'clock, so I'll have to be fast.
Okay, fast.
Hamiatia tukushuana hila, akatata tukwaniana hutu, alana hasata kuata, ina hila, ukuashana hitu, ukualana yinunuama hitu.
When we traveled to other lands, they welcomed us as kings and gave us gifts when we arrived.
Miatakia shatokuna hala ana hashatakia, uhuataki satakia nunua sataki, o hashana hilu tukwanianahu.
We even traded with those that had nothing, and took stones in return, or rocks, or whatever they could have to give us, just so that they could survive.
Amiati sitia takashotokuna hila, ananiatoku sutnuaniana shatakiana hula nitiatoku.
I once accepted a snake for 5 loaves of bread.
Yes.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. Amiati kiatakushana hila.
And the snake was happy to go.
Namaste. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Have we all been channeling the same entity, or?
It sounds like it.
Yeah, he was. I don't know what he said his name was, but I have to go because I have a discussion. So
Thank you. Thank
much
you.
love to
Thank you
you.
so
Bye,
much,
Jim.
Jim. Love you.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
I have to find out how to get out of here. Ah, there you go.
There you go.
That figures I buy a snake, right? Crying out loud!
Better been good bread.
Yeah, no kidding.
Good on you, Andy, for giving those people that bread. They probably needed it.
Evidently. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, but whenever I meet you, when I can bring you bread and a snake.
The funny part about it is I've been throwing bread outside to the birds for like 3 days, so this is really funny.
Nice thing.
But that was
I love it,
good.
Wendy.
This came to me too because I still have a pile of bread on my kitchen table that's still got to go outside.
So do you
Maybe
guys
chuck
think
it,
it was all one
you might get a snake. Oh, sorry, Sam.
Do you guys think it was all one entity?
No,
No,
I don't think so.
it felt like many entities, and everybody was telling their story when they were in that time period.
Yeah,
It
almost
was
like
Because the story was flowing.
yeah, it was
definitely.
almost like a group telling a story about their perspective.
Yeah. Because it was flowing.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. That was really good.
That was really cool.
Fireside, like a fireside
Yes,
story.
exactly. That's how it felt. Yes, exactly. That was really cool.
I think we can all agree Wendy's part was the best part.
Well, the goofiest by far.
Love it, Wendy. Love it.
Mary, you missed it, Mary.
Oh, that was funny.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi,
What did
Mary.
Welcome, Mary.
So we did an experiment.
Oh. Yeah, I missed. My husband came home and I had to cook for him.
Those annoying husbands.
Tell me about it.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there, girls.
Okay.
Why not?
Sabrina's going to get married again, anyways. Or what did you share about the dream?
This is my first and last marriage. I'm done.
Yeah.
Mary, your microphone's a bit funny.
Did somebody send me the link for the movie you were all watching? Because I missed it.
So what we just did was we had Jim was here. Were you watching? No.
No, not when Jim was there.
Jim was here, and then we each spoke a little bit of the language of our languages, and we said the intention for an Atlantean or Lemurian to speak
Oh.
and tell us. So go back and listen. It was really
Okay,
good.
so everything is live now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I will. No, I'm talking about the movie you were all watching.
Which movie?
Oh, the YouTube clip.
Oh, the YouTube clip.
Yeah, the YouTube clip.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hold on. I will repost
The
it.
clip from the previous webinar where Jim channeled an Atlantean.
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Yes. So we got a little bit more information now.
Mhm.
So we might have to go back and listen to that to see if some of the questions need to be rethought. But it was really good.
Okay, good.
So, wow. I'm still in wow.
I am too. I really am.
What happened while I was gone? I left when I stopped speaking.
I invited Jim, shared that we needed his help. So.
Was there anything else that happened?
Gabe. Nice job, Gabe. Good call. Good call.
But we need to.
Because I had thought of doing that. And I talked about it actually with Hyan yesterday. Because we'll each bring a different perspective, and even during a webinar, we can do that. Because obviously the information was flowing. So if we pick a topic again, and then just have maybe Jim just translate what we're all saying. I think that would be good.
It is. It is very, very nice to know, since we don't know what we're saying, it's really nice to know we are saying something.
Even if it was snakes and bread.
Even if it's trading snakes for bread. Oh.
Yeah, and also I think this way we get a lot more information.
Yes.
That too.
Coming to us.
Because we wanted to know earlier, the question was, and specifically Sarah, I believe, asked, what was a day like? And that's kind of what we got.
Yeah. So I think because we'll all bring in different entities, so they'll all give us their perspective, so we'll get to see it in a whole bunch of different ways all at once. So.
But the maids.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
It sounded that it was connected as well.
Oh, I was channeling. With mine, it was definitely. I mean, it was in, and then he kept shaking my hand like back and forth. It felt like a very old being.
I think they picked a language that I could.
And I think I was speaking their language.
I don't think.
I'm sure.
I don't think that I'm speaking the being's language.
What if they were all just aspects of us, though?
Well, that's what I was thinking actually when we were speaking.
Me too.
And each person was speaking, I kind of was thinking that that's what it was that each one of us were speaking of ourselves then, you know, our aspects of ourselves then.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting. I had an interesting dream. It was weird because I was sort of in between. I wasn't like in a deep sleep, but you remember, I don't know from what era was that, the bathing suits that they were not cut all the way, they came down a little bit on the leg, and then the top looked more like a bra.
Yeah, probably. What would that be, like 40s maybe?
Yeah.
40s, 50s?
Right around there.
Well, I'm seeing the woman and she's singing, right? And she's wearing like this golden bathing suit like that. And she's singing, but it's inside a room. And she starts to morph into a dragon.
Cool.
She started to change, and she started to become a dragon.
I like dragons.
No kidding.
Yeah. So, so yeah. Dan.
Shape-shifting.
Did you see what she looked like all together? Like her whole body?
Yeah, I saw her whole body.
What color was her hair?
Her hair was like a dark brown.
That's awesome. So, and that was in a dream?
Yeah.
Well, you could be right now then, because we've been summoning the interest of Atlantis. It just came to me that that could actually be part of that too, is the Atlantean coming through. A lot of dragons back then.
Yeah, so that was the dream. And I was like, what? All of a sudden I see her going down and my head is like following what she's doing. And I see her like changing into a dragon. And like so as she's morphing, like the head is forming.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was interesting.
Sabrina, how do you feel about the thought that maybe you were her and you are a dragon as well?
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, because like maybe that's you then in that time place. Because they could do that then. I mean, they could literally do that. They would actually speak their language and then they would transform into, they would basically shapeshift into dragons or whatever.
Okay, the only thing is I can't sing to save my life.
I think you're a good singer.
It doesn't matter. But the point is to make the sound.
As long as you have a voice.
But I feel like it wasn't even just like mermaids and stuff that was associated with Atlantis. I feel like it was also like just so many different varieties of different species, like the fae, the elementals, dragons. Because didn't they? I don't know. I think I was a little kid when I watched this. Like, because when I was little, I always was so fascinated by like all the myths and stuff. And I watched this show called Mystery Hunters. And basically, it was they would go out and find different places that like had stories to them and myths and discoveries that people made, like with archaeology and stuff. And they were talking about dragons this one time, where like, is it possible that they actually existed back then in prehistoric times? And I think they were mentioning like bones and stuff that like they were bigger than dinosaur bones that they found. They weren't human looking. They weren't those large ones, those large human looking bones, but they were different compared to any dinosaur. So yeah, I feel like, definitely dragons and stuff like that obviously must have existed back then in Atlantis, because like I feel like there's definitely strong connections with dolphins, mermaids, elementals.
Oh, totally. Yeah, they show all those in that show. I put that link there to that BBC show, of Atlantis, and it shows all those beings, and I laughed because I thought of us right away. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, really? God, I didn't even know. I
It's
had no
so,
clue.
it's
I
so
thought they only made like the whole like Atlantis just involving mermaids and stuff, and I was like, what? It's not just mermaids, it's other stuff too.
Oh no, that's what I mean. It's like magic and mermaids. And dragons, and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
Hmm. You think about it, maybe that's how some of us
And
maybe are.
they were actually conjuring magic. They were materializing by using languages, like,
Yeah.
I suppose incantations, if you will, if that's what you want to call it then. But it was,
Alchemy and stuff.
yes, I suppose, yes, alchemy. That's been a subject as of late also, and is alchemy.
Yeah. And it makes you think, like, what if, like, that's kind of how some Wiccans, and maybe that's what was brought down to them. Maybe that's how their ancestry, I don't know necessarily ancestry, but maybe that's what it dates back to.
They're all very deeply woven and interconnected. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, the more I research about each individual thing, the more I see the connections between them all. And then, of course, because we already know everything is all connected anyway, it really then shouldn't really surprise us.
Yeah, because think about it today, this whole webinar, like, so far is we've discovered different aspects of ourselves, and we've even answered some questions that, like, we've kind of pondered upon, like, what we want to know ourselves.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
So that's what's kind of cool about the whole theory thing, and like kind of like experimenting with different ideas and stuff, is something that you resonate with the most. Like, it's not necessarily wrong. I don't think there ever is wrong. It's always right. It's wrong is like, honestly, I don't know. At this point I don't really see it wrong.
Well, no, and you have to almost sort of look at it too as like, sometimes I see it almost as like these crystal balls just shining, like almost like a disco ball, you've got all these lights shining on it, but those lights are all of us reflecting all of this stuff back and forth and bouncing all this stuff back and forth, all back, to one another, and bouncing and remembering all of the threads.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Dragons.
I actually could see a connection to you to dragons, though.
Yes, Sabrina.
The Lepstean dragon.
What color was the dragon, Sabrina?
I know there was like red and gold.
Yeah. To you, one of the colors I feel a connection with you the most is definitely white gold. I don't know why. Ever since I saw that, I had that dream of the wedding of you.
Yeah.
You have like a strong connection to white gold or some type of gold. I don't know what it is. Because with you, I'm sensing like, this is probably really weird, but connections to like Greek and like the goddesses and stuff of like Zeus and stuff like that. I don't know why I always have sensed that with you.
I think several of us are too, Kate, because I've actually thought of that too with several of us in that era, if you will, timeline, whatever.
Yeah, because I know Zenaida has connections, but with you, like, I don't know what it is with you, Sabrina. I've just, even like when I first met you, I always had that feeling with you for some reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Before I knew Zenaida, before when I first met you, I always had that for some reason with me in my head that like this girl has connections to some type of Greeks or something, because I don't know why I keep getting that in my head every time.
But
But
I should ask that in my next private session.
yeah, because like I don't know, it's always been so strong with you in my opinion. Just like when I feel your energy, I always feel like something like that. Like you've been either royalty in that time or like you just I don't know, it's just an energy. Or some type of goddess energy. Maybe you're a goddess or something. I don't know.
Well, that's funny too, Kate. There was a picture somebody posted today on a picture of Greece, in Santorini, Greece.
Oh.
It was so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. And you know, I don't really know much about Greek mythology. Not really. I don't really know much, but
yeah.
I just feel the energy, and I just definitely feel its connection to Sabrina that she has of some type. Do you have any family, or is that one of your?
No, it's not one of my, so it's interesting, but I can see where I have some idea of where the gold is coming from. The gold white that you see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have this funny suspicion, but I haven't quite pinpoint what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But when I had that experience about seeing the beginnings of a creation, that I was shown that it was a white gold.
Oh yeah, now I think about it, you have connections to like the angelic realms, don't you?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. That might be what I don't know. Because when I think about it too, whenever I've seen this light from source or anything to do with angels in general, I've always seen that I've always seen the same thing. I've always seen the white light. It's golden, and it's just infinite. It's really warm too. Like it gives you a really warm feeling, and like I don't know, but definitely, yeah, that makes sense. I think that does.
So that time I saw that there, and what happened today when I was meditating. It was sort of meditative state. It was the music, but then I felt myself. I went into the same position. You know, I don't know if you remember seeing the first video when Jesus came the first time. That his hands are out.
They're like inwards, aren't they?
No, they were like coming out, and the hands are
okay.
like kind of open.
Oh, okay.
So my hands went into that position. I was standing up, and then I felt like Jesus in front of me, and then I felt Archangel Gabriel behind me.
I know, Sabrina. I was there.
I just got it.
I was creeping at your house behind you.
Yes, that must have been Gab.
Yeah, and he was dancing in the background.
Yes. So
yeah, it's for a lifetime when I was your daughter Gabriella.
Yes.
You were her daughter? What? What?
Yes.
Where? I didn't hear that.
You
Okay.
didn't know that?
I had no clue. I think that's actually hilarious. Imagining Gabriel
Well,
as
that's
a
a
girl.
new one though. But the female version of Archangel Gabriel is actually Gabriella.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
What about Michael? Because there
I
is
don't.
there is a female
I'm not sure
version
if
of
there's a
Michael.
female version of Michael. I'm
Wait,
not
wait.
sure about
Yeah,
that.
there is.
Why did I say
Is
said
it?
Gabriel? It wasn't Gabriel, it was Michael. Did
Oh,
I
you
say
said
Gabriel?
Gabriel.
He said
Yeah.
Gabriel.
Oh.
That's why he made the joke.
Yes, I know. I just realized that. No, it was Michael. I was just
Oh.
corrected in my head.
Oh, okay.
I know you love me much, Sabrina.
I do, Dad. I do. My beloved daughter, son.
You're dreaming that I'm hanging out around in your house.
Yes.
Gabriel, I'm imagining you with pigtails now. It's kind of funny. Going
wow.
to Sabrina, I'm your daughter.
Keep on stalking Gabriella.
I
love
imagine
this.
you being Toad at the moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I channeled
So
him the other
funny.
day. He was being really weird. I think because Nick was in the room, and Toad for some reason likes picking on Nick. I don't know why. He keeps calling him a little troll. I love that. But yeah, Toad is. Oh great, my dogs are barking. Toad is. Yeah, I guess so. I guess he would be an aspect of me, right? Well, you don't always have to channel aspects of you, do you? But you think about it, we all are one, right? So.
Most times you do. It doesn't always have to be, but yeah. In some of the pictures you've done, that is you.
Oh, totally. She looks like you can see Kate in like every single one of them.
Yes.
Really?
Totally.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Most definitely.
I've never thought of that. The only one I feel like I connect to really is like the moon one, the girl that is the moon goddess counterpart. I don't know what she is, honestly. I have no clue, but I have yet to understand that because I remember when I had that. I think I mentioned to one of you, like, I had a dream that I was like, I knew I was a moon goddess at one point. I said who I was and I knew who I was and I was really confident and I didn't act like how Caitlin does. I was acting totally different. Like I was a different person. And when I drew her, I was like, this must be it. This must be the one that I actually knew who I was at that point. But other than that, I don't know. I guess that does make sense, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of
Mhm.
yeah. Speaking of moon, Dan, do you have any information on the moon? Is he there?
Yeah, any information on what?
What
The
kind,
moon.
what kind of information?
What about the thing itself, or about stories behind it, or
Anything or about races living there or what's
Well, I've been
happening
getting,
there?
I just find it funny that you asked that, Sabrina, because I've been dreaming and thinking about the moon, and I was having a conversation in I guess a telepathic conversation in I don't know what you want to call it, meditation, if you will, and they brought me there and they showed me these like the cities on the moon and how I was being transported there in a monolith, and how one of the reasons why we've all been feeling a little out of kilter is because of the recalibration of the magnetics, and it went into a very lengthy conversation actually, and I wish I could have written it all down.
Ask to bring your notepad next time.
And well, I'm looking at my notes right now to see if I wrote any of it down. But I just found it fascinating that you asked that when you did.
Yeah, because I I don't know why I also get the feeling that Dan might have a connection.
I don't know. It's that big white thing that sits in the sky some nights.
You think about it. You are
Kind of always seems like it's looking at you.
Dan.
Yeah.
You have connections to wolves, right? Am I wrong? Am I correct? Am I incorrect?
I do too, so maybe that's.
I would say that we're all connected to the wolf.
Ah.
Yeah, but you have, how about a special connection?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't necessarily feel that connected, but like you, I know you. I feel that strongly with you. So maybe that may be why.
That goes around.
I have howled at the moon before. That was a fun.
Oh my god.
It just came out of nowhere. I just decided. I looked up and it was a full moon, and I just, for some reason, just decided to howl.
Was there people around?
Yeah. I just sort of looked at them and I was just like, well, that was new, and then just carried on.
Oh my god.
But remember the time when you were biting me on the colonies because you were a dog?
See, I don't remember that. That was your memory.
But
I think that's hilarious, though.
Like, about the different beings and stuff that live on the moon, I'm pretty sure that there's not like a select kind of race that occupies it. It kind of seems more like a giant space station, a bit like a space station between the matrix reality of planet Earth and whatever is, whatever is outside the limits of our imagination. There's I've been.
Do you think there's animals there?
Probably in the same way that, like a zoo, you keep a few animals there, you got some to populate the planet if something goes wrong, kind of thing.
Wendy.
Wendy, did you get anything about that?
About the animals? Actually, no.
Okay.
I have a question for you though, Wendy. Did you say you were speaking to a race, or did you see any?
Well, he felt to me, I say he, but it felt like a he, but it felt like a hybrid gray.
That is crazy because I was getting that in my head.
Really?
No, I'm not joking. I'm not. I was getting gray. I kept getting the word gray, but not hybrid. But that is cool. That is funny.
Well, he said small gray.
I was seeing small gray too.
Is exactly what he said.
Wow. So did you see him at all?
Yes, in my mind, yes, I saw him. Looked just like you would think.
That's exactly, yeah.
Just
I
like
think
you
that's
would
how I was
think.
seeing him.
Oh
yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
There's definitely greys living on the moon.
Probably like the same size as me.
Yeah.
My stature, my height, my, maybe even smaller.
I think it's funny I was getting that because I honestly I didn't even know there was beings living on the moon at all, and I didn't think the Greys would be living on.
I've just been noticing the moon a lot more ever since this past full moon, which was back just last few days, and I've been watching it every morning because it's been so bright that it's been so bright in the sky. The sun has already risen. And it's still so bright. And so I've been photographing it. I've been meditating every morning in the full moonlight early in the morning, well before the sun rises. And so I've been getting a lot more information because I'm asking for it. So, you know, when you're tuning into it, you just get more. And that's when I started getting the conversations and the information, and you know, why so many of us have been feeling the way that we've been feeling, and why so many of us have been sick. And a lot of it had to do with the positioning of it and there was not a problem. There was something about a recalibration. They were trying to explain to me the magnetics. And I understood it when I was there, but of course to re-explain it now is it's eluding me.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
You know?
I think that's cool though, that I kind of picked up on that though.
Yes, absolutely. And then Dan just said that as well about grays on the moon. So that well, I've always, not always, but a lot more lately, have felt that I've been making trips back and forth to the moon for quite a long time, but recently have been asking for a little bit more information and that sort of thing, and so therefore it's more and more has been coming back to me.
I think that's awesome.
And of course there was also a lot of not a lot, but there was some information way back when I very first started watching Bashar that he had spoken about the moon and Mars and the Earth and the pyramids on all three. And so they were explaining to me about the connection between all of the pyramids and how the calibrations were being made between all the pyramids and the communication between them, and soon that the pyramids would be discovered on the moon. And I guess the more I'm thinking and talking about it, the more that's coming back. But it went into that type of information, and it had to do with the pyramids. And it was, for some reason, a couple of years ago, I actually drew the diagram in my journal about the alignment of the Earth and the moon and Mars. And so I've been going back to my journal and looking back at those drawings, and I don't know why, I just am. And I've also been getting a lot more dreaming of diagrams. So that's kind of basically it in a nutshell.
I think that's cool. I should probably start doing that too. I've done a few things where it's like I should probably look back and get the answers for that. But not when you think about it, it all comes in time, right? Like for you wonder what you drew, or you wonder what information you got, and you're trying to process it, and you kind of let it go for a while, and then you finally look back at that journal or page that you wrote that on, and you got the answer for it. Now that you think about it, I think that would be awesome.
And I really didn't have any idea back then why I was jotting down the notes that I was jotting down when I was doing it. I just did it. It just resonated with me to do it, and it was exciting. And so I couldn't write fast enough. I was so excited, learning about it all. And now some of this is coming back to me, where I was like, oh yeah, didn't I write something about that in my journal, like a couple years ago? And so I go back and I was like, oh yeah, there it is, So yeah, it's really fun. It's kind of fun to put the puzzle pieces together.
Heck yeah. Gabriel, what were you going to say? Or Gabriel, should I say?
Sonic, you say Sonic.
Okay, Sonic. Go ahead.
I have forgotten.
Oh.
I was thinking about... Hey, I haven't shown you my Sonic yet. No, we're live. But how long are we going to stay live? Sabrina.
I don't know if she's there or not.
We can take it off live now.
Do we not have to do the meditation though?
Yeah, we'll do that off live. We could even just do that tomorrow. Whatever you guys prefer, but we can still do it once we take it online.
If it's not a guided meditation, then it's like 50 minutes silence on a video. It's not.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for joining us. And I hope everybody, there was information given to us today. Thank you, Jim, for helping us. And I will see everybody soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.